Coming out of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, the F1 driver market has once again created huge headlines about the sport. After a shocking signing of former Formula 2 champion Gabriel Bortoleto was signed by Kicksauber to replace Valtteri Bottas, but more on that later. Now shifting our focus to the last year's Constructors' Champion, Red Bull Racing. They are really in the worst possible situation, where they lost their P1 in Constructors and pushed back to P3 now. Their driver championship was in danger with McLaren's marvelous charge, but after Max's victory in Interlagos, at least they can be rest assured that Max can be drivers' world champion. But speaking about his teammate, Sergio Perez, I have to say he has lost his form and passion for racing. He hasn't gotten a podium since China this season. I think so, forget about podiums. He's barely in the top 10 sometimes. Instead of trying to win races, Perez has caused the most financial loss to an F1 car. This season, he's currently P1 in the Constructors' Championship. Christian Horner, team principal of Red Bull, has come forward to talk about the Perez situation after another disappointing weekend for Checo. He said, "Perez knows F1 is a result-based business, and inevitably, when you are not delivering, then the spotlight is firmly on you. As I say, F1 is a results-based business, and when anyone is underperforming, of course, there is always going to be scrutiny on that, and as a team, we need to have both cars scoring points, and that is the nature of Formula 1. The scrutiny on Perez is constant. It's always there. So from a team's perspective, we are working with him as hard as we can to try and support him. I think we've done everything we can to support Checo, and we will continue to do so, but there comes a point in time that you can only do so much. Brazil was an opportunity to take a big chunk in the Constructors' Championship from both Ferrari and McLaren. Unfortunately, we've not been able to capitalize on that, so obviously that is frustrating. But we will go away and have a look at it and come back hopefully fighting hard in Vegas. I haven't sat in the debrief. I haven't heard Perez's comments, but there was nothing evident to me in the race. I think everything in life is subjective and you've got to look at the facts. We're working hard with Checo. He had a chassis change this weekend. I thought he drove a good sprint race, but on Sunday it wasn't his day. After all this chaos in the Red Bull garage, and also as a result of finishing P3 in Constructors, RB could be losing up to $20 million. Which could result in lower bonuses and lower salaries for the Red Bull crew, which can cause them to leave or work demoralized for the next season. Noah talking about the sponsors, they will not be very pleased to witness their money go to loss about this Red Bull downfall. Talking about the new RB rookie, Liam Lawson, who has joined the junior Red Bull team after a rather disappointing exit of Daniel Ricciardo from the sport. After joining, Liam Lawson was quick to adapt and very keen to show the higher-ups that he's here to stay. As in the recent races, he has managed to score points onto occasions as P9. After watching his stunning pace and performance, Christian Horner said in a press conference, "Lawson did a super job again today, and Tsunoda as well, but Liam particularly, considering his experience." Now coming to his veteran teammate, Yuki Tsunoda, he has been with a great pace and driving skills recently as he outscored Liam Lawson every time. In fact, Yuki has won against other teammates in his entire career with Red Bull's junior team. His teammates who he won against were Daniel Ricciardo and Nick de Vries back in the day. I think Yuki has been a phenomenal driver so far, and when asked about his chances with Red Bull Racing, Christian Horner mentioned, "Yuki is obviously a member of the junior team. It's something we have discussed with Honda that he should have a test in one of our cars in Yas Marina after the last tires test following the conclusion of the season. It's something that's been agreed for quite some time. It will again be good to give him a run, give him the opportunity to work with Red Bull Racing engineers, and see how he performs in a Red Bull Racing." Coming on to the next banger news, if you didn't know, Christian Horner was seen leaving Williams Racing's hospitality tent, supposedly making a deal with them for a driver. Speculations were quick to stir and head to the media. Franco Collapinto has been so far an amazing young F1 talent. He has shown everybody that he's fast and cautious about his car, and that he can score points in a car like Williams. When Christian was asked about Franco being Max's teammate, he added, Franco is talented, so of course you're keeping an eye on the market of how things are developing. And when asked about taking Carlos Sainz back to Red Bull, he also added, "I mean, there's always plenty of speculation in the Formula 1 paddock, and Carlos Sainz is going to be a Williams driver next year. He is a great driver, had a big win in Mexico recently, and I think he'll be very good for that team. He is committed to Williams and he wouldn't form part of our plans for next year." He was very swift to cancel any rumors about Carlos joining the Red Bull family, but I would also guess Max and Carlos wouldn't be a great duo, just like they were back in the day. Finally, on the decision day, if Red Bull needs to choose one driver to step up to the senior team, I would guess Liam do have a lot of chances to become Max's teammate, as he has been the product of Red Bull Junior program from all these years. But I cannot just ignore the fact Yuki has been waiting for years to get that Red Bull chance, and with the help of Honda, I think Yuki will achieve this dream first. But the real problem lies with Checo, until and unless he resigns or Red Bull fire him. There's no chance for both of the junior RB drivers to progress onto a great team in Formula 1, and I don't see Checo resigning anytime soon because he talks about how is very much passionate towards racing in F1. One more important point to take into account is the Mexican billionaire behind Checo's F1 journey, Carlos Slim. He has been the sole financial and moral support for Sergio throughout his entire journey, and he makes it very clear that he supports Checo, only not Red Bull Racing. So in the case if RB fires Sergio, they will losing a significant amount of funding from their major sponsors, which might be a problem because after losing $20 million in constructors' money, I don't think so Red Bull will take that risk altogether. Finally, back to the most recent driver change in Formula 1. The Brazilian driver Gabriel Bortoleto has finally got his chance in Formula 1 after he signed a multi-year deal with Kicksuber, which are bound to become Audi in 2026. When asked about this driver decision, the Audi CEO, Gernot Doliner, "As we are currently witnessing a generational shift in Formula 1 by signing Gabriel Bortoleto, we have secured one of these top talents." Talking about the departing Sauber drivers, Zhou Guanyu and Valtteri Bottas were stunned to witness this news, as Valtteri Bottas was very confident about his chances to sign another contract with the team, as he said, "I'm definitely hoping for some news in the days to come after the Sao Paulo Grand Prix." Although signing Gabriel was a huge risk for the team, as he was a McLaren Junior Academy driver, they needed to make sure he left all McLaren clauses closed before joining the team. I think that's the reason this news was delayed for a long time, because of the negotiations. But McLaren has decided to give him away, because McLaren's F1 team roster is locked in for several years after 2026, so they want him to waste his time as the third driver. But Andrea Stella only allowed him to leave McLaren family only if he was entering F1 team in 2025, which he did, so both parties were on good terms. Except Valtteri Bottas, who feels as if he was lied and manipulated by the Sauber staff in thinking that he doesn't have to worry about his seat, but ultimately sinking him for Gabriel. As Masha Binotto, the CEO and CTO of Kicksuber F1 team, final conditions could not be met, so we agreed that it is time to part ways. Finally, what other choices are now available for Valtteri Bottas then? One option is to just leave F1, retire, and live his natural life back home. Or he could become the reserve driver for the Mercedes F1 team, to go back to the original team where he achieved all of his achievements in. F1 could be a great idea, as he then can try to break back into the Mercedes F1 team. But nothing is sure at the moment, as there is only one more space on the 2025 F1 grid, which is Yuki's teammate. Can Valtteri join Red Bull's junior team and try to reach Red Bull?